This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth with breaking news. Iran fires dozens of missiles into Israel as retaliation for killing of Hezbollah and Hamas leaders. Now, this article is over a couple hours old and things are moving very quickly because we're already not talking about dozens anymore. We're talking about hundreds of missiles being fired into Israel from Iran. This is largely following the Israeli forces who began a targeted ground operation in Lebanon, the Israeli Defense Force says. So it looks like war is beginning now in the Middle East, bombs away. Israel's military, in a breaking news wire, says that rockets have been fired from Iran at Israel. And if you look at some of the footage that's coming in, it's pretty shocking. It's pretty terrifying. As you can see here, these ballistic missiles are clearly getting past Israel's Iron Dome defense system. As you can see here, they're clearly hitting their targets. Now, this differs in a big way from when Iran attacked Israel a few months ago, back in April. I reported on that here. Israel's readying imminent attack on Iran, while Americans are panic searching World War III and can I be drafted? And back then, you may recall that it was more like drones that were flying towards Israel, and they took hours to get there, and they were easily shot down. Well, these ballistic missiles in particular don't take hours to get there. They take about 12 minutes. So that's why they have actually started hitting their targets, and this is a very, very serious, real situation going on here. Iran has launched 400 missiles at Israel. This is terror in Tel Aviv as rockets are smashing buildings and sirens blare and barrage from Tehran. Biden said yesterday in response to a question of if they're going to deploy more troops to the Middle East, he says no. And then today, the very following day, the Pentagon announced that more U.S. troops are being deployed to the Middle East. Imagine that. Somebody's running the country, and it definitely ain't Joe Biden. Meanwhile, guys, at least 8 people are dead after gunmen opened fire at Tel Aviv light rail station in an on-the-ground attack as Iran launches missiles. It looks like a coordinated attack happening in Tel Aviv from Iran. So President Joe Biden has issued a strong warning saying, as they're launching these heavy missile attacks, that they will be defending Israel at all costs. IDF has responded saying the Middle East is on the brink of an all-out war. So this is escalating very, very quickly, guys. Meanwhile, Donald Trump says Iran would never have been attacked, have never attacked Israel if he was president, and warns that the U.S. is on the brink of World War III. Various, very, very serious words to be coming from the former president and potential next president of the United States. So we're going to cover all of this, guys, and much, much more in this video. Really quickly, though, before we do, I'd ask that you check me out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate if you appreciate my efforts to bring you this info. Here you can do a one-time donation with PayPal. You can do Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. You could join me as a Patreon alternative. I've been kicked off of Patreon, and there you can sign up for $5 or $10 or $20 a month. Whatever is within your means is very greatly appreciated. You can also do that here at Subscribestar. You could send me an e-transfer to Dan at pressfortruth.ca, or you can send stuff to my P.O. box, guys. Links for all of this are located in the description below. Thank you so much to everybody who takes 1 minute today to support my efforts financially here at Press for Truth. All right, guys, just last month, I guess 2 months ago now, August 5th, I reported on this. These military defense stocks are rallying as the market crashes. Are they preparing for World War III? Because back in August, I had noticed that the stocks of Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop Grumman were growing exponentially at a time when all other major assets in the stock markets were crashing. We saw these particular defense stocks rallying amid these geopolitical tensions. So it got me wondering, what do they know that the rest of the world doesn't? These investors, and what is the likes of Lockheed Martin planning? Well, we see here shares are trading higher today. They're up by over 2% today alone. Reports have surfaced indicating that Iran is preparing a ballistic missile strike against Israel in retaliation for an airstrike that killed Hezbollah leader. The U.S. has indicated that it believes the attack is imminent, heightening the risk of a broader regional conflict. So again, more money is being pumped into the military-industrial complex in the months leading up to this, and literally even right up to this morning. 2% of spike in the shares. And now the IDF is saying the Middle East is on the brink of an all-out major war. The Israeli military has confirmed that Iran has unleashed a barrage of missiles into Israel tonight, with the Islamic Republic defying warnings that any such attack would invite a severe consequences. Air raid sirens sounded as missiles began raining down on Israel on Tuesday, with some rockets dramatically exploding into bright orange flames near Tel Aviv. And Iran, as Iran unleashed a sustained wave of attacks, other missiles burst into flames in the air as they appeared to be intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome defense system. And the Israeli military has vowed that there will be repercussions for this attack, with the ambulance service reporting no injuries from the onslaught. The expected Iranian attack marks a major escalation in the Israel-Hamas war and follows a previous bombardment in April, which saw hundreds of drones and missiles launched into the country. With the world holding its breath over an all-out war in the Middle East now, the White House has said that President Joe Biden has ordered the U.S. military to aid Israel in defense and to shoot down Iranian missiles. In fact, it seems that the White House is prepared to defend Israeli military, though there have not been any official authorization in Congress, no less any kind of debate to do such a thing. Imagine that, folks. The Pentagon on Monday confirmed that it's sending a few thousand additional troops to the Middle East to be on standby, if needed, to defend Israel from a broader attack. This is widely being seen as preparations for war against Iran if needed. So they've seen this coming. They've been preparing for it. And let's not forget that it is the U.S. utilizing proxy wars and their, boogeyman organizations that were set up by them, by the CIA, like Hezbollah, like Hamas, like, Al-Qaeda, like ISIS. They've used these groups to be able to destabilize the Middle East and to go in there and to essentially take down various, forms of government to install their own, systems of democracy that are easily controlling the Middle East. That's what this is all about. This is a massive takeover that's been happening for decades now. In fact, I'll remind you about the former NATO Secretary General Wesley Clark, who admitted that he was shown a memo while he was at the Pentagon explaining that there was a secret plan by these U.S. Pentagon officials to take out, what was it, 7 countries in 5 years. This is from the archives of global research, global warfare. We're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years. Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, in Iran. This is coming from General Wesley Clark. He is a former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. He was informed about a memo from the Secretary of Defense's office in 2001, which outlined a plan to invade and destroy the governments of 7 countries within 5 years. And it was obviously in 2001 because this was shortly after 9/11, when everyone was lied about, Saddam Hussein having weapons of mass destruction. And everybody knows none of that was true. It was just an excuse to invade. Well, this is around the time that General Clark was advised of this particular memo. And let me, play for you this now infamous interview, and you could hear it from the horse's mouth himself. This is a man who was privy to these inside, very secret plans. And listen to him lay it out here in this interview.
And one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do."
It's a couple of weeks after 9/11.
So I said, well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda? He said, no. He says, there's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq. He said, I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments. And he said, I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail. So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran. I said, is it classified? He said, yes, sir. I said, well, don't show it to me.
Crazy that the audience is laughing at this, because what he is saying here is incredibly revealing and incredibly serious. He is saying that there is a secret plan from the U.S. government to take out the countries of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. Obviously, if they tried to preemptively do that, if they were the ones to, strike first, it wouldn't look so good for the American empire. So excuses are constantly drawn up for them to be able to do this invasion. So right now, folks, it looks like what we're seeing in the Middle East is largely in part due to the covert U.S. actions of, setting up these terrorist networks and utilizing them to destabilize the Middle East so that they can go in and offer some sort of humanitarian mission or some sort of, defense plan to save these poor Israelis who are being attacked. It's all a massive secretive proxy war that is designed to completely take over the Middle East. And you got to remember who enemy number one is when you're looking at this. It's criminal elements within the intelligence communities in the U.S., like the CIA, ladies and gentlemen. So just wanted to bring all of this to your attention because, Trump says, hey, none of this would happen if he were, president. And obviously that's a bunch of nonsense. But saying that we're on the brink of World War III is something that shouldn't be taken lightly from a former president and somebody who may be the next selected president of the United States. So just wanted to bring all of this to your attention, guys. Once again, if you do appreciate my efforts to do so, don't forget to check me out here, pressfortruth.ca/donate. You can check that top link in the description below on whatever video platform you happen to be watching this on, whether it's on BitChute or Rumble or Minds, or, Odyssey, or Band, or any of the other great platforms that I post on. Please check the links in the description below to where you can support my efforts here at Press for Truth. And that's all for today, guys. Just wanted to bring this breaking news to your attention. I'll continue to stay on top of this because it is a very fast-pacing, developing story. So I just wanted to bring the breaking news to your attention. Once again, if you do appreciate that, don't forget to share this video, click the thumbs up button, and stay tuned, guys. We're going to have more video reports coming soon, God willing. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.